Hello Taurus, my name is Lynn Walden. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be doing a reading for you today for the week of December 9th, and I'm using my Intuitive Insight Oracle cards. So I am actually a Taurus sun sign, so I always do a reading for myself before I do any of the spreads, but really specifically when I start with Taurus, because I want to make sure mine is not taking over the spread. My personal reading is not taking over the spread instead of reading for the collective. So I did that, and I have actually noticed that there are some similar qualities that come out. But overall, what I have to say is this. I know astrologically that it is said that this is an incredibly powerful time for Taurus to be creating things and manifesting things. And in truth, that really is very much a part of our nature. That's our energetic imprint. We have a tendency, sometimes we look slow in what we're doing, but if you look at it over time, what Taurus really is consistent, determined, willing to put in time and see the long goal, the big picture. The thing with Taurus, and this is what I'm getting now, specifically for the Taurus collective, is that there is a tendency for Taurus to actually really enjoy working, enjoy the process of working and creating and building something. And that because there actually is enjoyment in that sense of success of creating and manifesting and watching it develop, they can actually go into a state of exhaustion and overwhelm without realizing they're doing it, because there can be a tendency to become imbalanced. Now, Taurus is also known for liking luxury, liking comfort. I would say, they say luxury, but I would say comfort more than luxury. I like a really good couch, but it doesn't have to be a name brand. You know what I'm saying? I like a nice food, but it can be very rustic and homemade. It doesn't have to be in a high-end restaurant. But enough about me. What I'm seeing with this is what you're being really led to is, even though it is a time for creation for Taurus, you're being asked to remember a sense of play. Because the thing about overwhelm and exhaustion is it tends to happen over time. Because there is an enjoyment factor in working hard, and Taurus doesn't often see it as working hard, they just see it as producing in a pleasurable way, they can forget to play. They can forget to take a break, and they can become very inclined to work and work and work and work to get it right, to perhaps overthink the details sometimes a little bit too much, so that it can kind of stall them and can kind of create a loop of energy that keeps them moving around in circles rather than moving forward. Doesn't mean that they won't actually eventually get out of that loop. But energetically, what will happen or can happen, and I think is for some Taurus right now, is that they'll get so into the work factor that the energy of that creates a momentum that just keeps them in that cycle of work. The energy of play is spontaneous. It's creative. It really taps into the intuitive side of the brain. Now, it's not that Taurus doesn't have the capacity to be in that part of the brain while they're working. It's just that when we tend to go in loops like that of overwork and overanalysis, it can tend to lead us into the logical side of the brain more than the intuitive side of the brain. And what we really want for Taurus is to be able to have that ability to really be logical, analytical thinking, but also really merging the intuitive side of the brain as well. So one of the best ways to do that is to engage in play. So you're being encouraged to take breaks from trying to make everything perfect and being in that really logical way of thinking, to engage play in order to do that. So what do we think about when we think about play? It doesn't have to be something huge. It doesn't have to be, joining a team where you're actually out on a court, although for Taurus that probably would be good. But I'm going to read you the card that describes the energy of play. Play is spontaneous. Its goal is fun and laughter and enjoying the moment. It might be silly and doesn't worry about what things look like. It risks seeming silly and immature. It can be loud or quiet. It's often found in creativity. Everything you do can be done with an attitude of playfulness. So, yes, you can apply that to your work too, for sure, absolutely. The more you can enjoy your work, the more productive you're going to be. But if you find yourself kind of getting stuck in that, do something playful. It might even be washing the dishes and pretending that you're doing it in a musical if you sing, which if you're a Taurus, you might very well like to because they tend to be throat oriented. Or you might decide to turn your cooking into a video about how to make a grilled cheese sandwich or whatever it is you're doing. Let mundane tasks become things where you explore different things that you enjoy doing. It might be dancing around your kitchen as you're cooking. And it might be getting out some plasticine and just making shapes the way you would have when you were a kid. Doodling, doing something like that. Playfulness. And it might be, if you're living with somebody or you're out with friends, it might just be being silly and being funny. Because Taurus also has a tendency to be able to do that. We're so multifaceted. What I'm also getting here is one of the ways to help you avoid overwhelm and to get you into more of that energy of play is to surround yourself with positive triggers. So positive triggers are things that generally lift your spirits. It might be perfume that you wear, it might be colors that you like, or a piece of clothing that you find particularly fun. Could be listening to music, a certain kind of music, or dancing. It might be, oh gosh, I just love Don O'Donoghue, and if you have any of his works, he's really worth reading. He's just a wonderful, wonderful mystic and poet, and it's beautiful. That always lifts me. And also, I love a good murder mystery. And that, if I sit down with a good murder mystery and a cup of tea, especially if the murder mystery is set in Egypt, I love it. So those are all positive triggers. They can be momentary. They can be things that you experience throughout your day that can be part of how you engage in play. You're also being asked to take care of yourself. Be your own hero. Be the one who looks at your life and says, who do I want to emulate in this moment? Stand back and look at what you're doing. And is there a way that you could do it differently so that you don't go into overwhelm, so that you can be playful, so that you can really nourish and take care of yourself instead of just working all the time and taking care of other people? Does somebody emulate that or be a role model for that you can emulate? Just stand back and look at that and say, okay, if I look at my life as a whole now, is there somebody that I admire that I could use as a role model, and start interspersing some of those self-care routines and playful attitudes and balance in my life, because it's really all about balancing the energy, right? It's not just activity, it's all energy. And then the last card that you get, and that one, actually, that card, Be Your Own Hero, that came out twice. I put it back because I thought at the beginning I didn't know how it fit, and it wanted to come out again. So it came out again. So really, you are being asked to look at your life and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. But don't forget, in the process of taking care of yourself, that you have access to grace. Grace has a smooth, easy, peaceful, and supportive quality. It flows naturally into us and through us. It's an experience of letting the benevolent universe take us through our movements and guide us with a loving hand. Notice the feeling quality of this description and return to it today, this week. Every time you're about to do or think about anything, or at any point in the day when you find yourself feeling stressed and thinking too much. And these are the ways that you can avoid overwhelm. But if you're already kind of in it or edging towards it, this is definitely something you want to get on so that you don't go into overwhelm. So we know overwhelm, it's like a state of system overload, right? And you can be going along and being fine doing all of this stuff until all of a sudden it's kind of like you feel the cracks appearing where you're just a little bit less tolerant of noise. You might find some aches and pains creeping up. You might just get to that point where you feel, oh God, just one more thing I have to do. Like even doing the dishes is too much. Or do I really, really have to put out the recycling this week, or can it wait? So just notice when you start feeling as though things are getting to be just a little bit too much, when you're feeling a little bit less inclined to want to get out of bed, or when, oh my gosh, just running a bath before bed is too much. It'll have to be a shower tonight. Okay? Check in. Do your best to stay out of overwhelm by standing back, looking at your life. Where is it out of balance? What would be the image of balance for you? And is there a role model that supports that image? How can you engage in play to kind of shift the energy? Take a break from trying to make everything perfect all the time. It doesn't mean you have to stop working, Taurus. We know that you like that. Surround yourself with positive triggers to lift the energy, to lift the mood, which kind of goes along with the play card. And remember that there is grace, and you just have to receive it. You just have to accept it to receive it. And that can be some of the most resourcing energy you'll ever find. And that in itself can really help shift you towards balance, because grace at its most beautiful point is really touching your soul and aligning your heart and your mind and your left brain and your right brain and your front brain and your back brain. It's just got that healing, essential quality of life to resource you. So please remember, you just have to take a moment and accept grace, because it's always there for you if you'll just let it in. And that, my lovely Taurian friends, is it for the week of December 9th. Take care of yourselves, seriously, okay? I'll be back next week. Oh, and if you do like this, if you like the channel, I really do appreciate, first of all, I appreciate you listening. I never really understood when people said that, but I really truly do. And it's great to see a thumbs up or a subscription. It's just that extra little, yay, Lynn, go for it. So if you feel inclined, I would be happy for any of those things. Take care. Have a great week.